Matt Peiken here with the Wake Up Podcast, and I have a confession to make. I don't live in your city. I produce this newscast from all the credible sources of journalism and the reporters who make up your local media landscape. I try to get the names of people and places right, but once in a while I'll mispronounce something. So I want you to set me straight so I don't repeat the mistake. If you hear anything amiss or just want to send feedback on the show, email me at editor@wakeupthenews.org. All right, on with the news. Wake up, Cincinnati. I'm Matt Peiken. I hope you all had a sunny weekend. Thanks so much for tuning into your local newscast for Monday, March 9th. Gun violence claims about 60 lives a year in Cincinnati, more than one a week. Since 2023, 19 victims have been juveniles. 2 were 11-year-olds killed on the same West End playground, Queen Array Reed in January and Dominic Davis earlier. After Queen Array's vigil drew hundreds, reporters took a closer look at the block around Laurel Playground. Over the past 3 years, 17 people were shot there, 9 of them children. Residents described decades of disinvestment, broken streetlights and cameras, and promises they say haven't been kept, as the city outlines efforts to help. Read more about this in the Inquirer. An updated report from Housing Opportunities Made Equal shows Black residents in and around Cincinnati continue to own homes at far lower rates than white residents, and in some cases, disparities are widening. Executive Director Elizabeth Risch says the gap reflects a legacy of redlining and ongoing lending inequities. Region-wide, the Black-white homeownership gap fell from about 39% to 33% last year, but in Hamilton County and Cincinnati, it's largely unchanged. Black borrowers are still denied mortgages at nearly twice the rate of white borrowers, regardless of income. Read more about this at WVXU. President Trump will visit Hebron Wednesday ahead of Kentucky's primary elections. A White House invitation says he'll make remarks at 1 p.m. at the Verst Logistics contract packaging facility. The visit comes as Trump backs Ed Galbraith in a primary challenge against Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, one of the few in his party who regularly clashes with the president. Kentucky's primary is May 19th. Attendees must register through the White House website. Earlier that day, Trump is scheduled to stop in Cincinnati to discuss the administration's new prescription drug website. Read more about this in the Inquirer. The Cincinnati Planning Commission has voted to extend temporary rules for new and expanding data centers for another 9 months. The measure now heads to City Council for a public hearing and vote. The rules, first approved last month, require an added layer of review, but don't stop development. City Planner Sophia Ferries Rowe says the city is working to define data center in the zoning code and decide which districts are appropriate. Commissioners will weigh factors like neighborhood compatibility, utilities, traffic, and environmental impacts. If approved, the extension would run through next February. Read more about this at WVXU. And a Mason businessman has invested millions to build a research-grade observatory on a former dairy farm in Adams County. Dieter Moeller, owner of RH Aerosystems, is partnering with the Cincinnati Astronomical Society to open the Moeller Observatory to society members and the public through events. The site features a 1-meter reflecting telescope, one of only 2 in the eastern U.S. accessible to amateur astronomers, along with 3 additional scopes. Society members are already using the equipment for NASA citizen science projects. Leaders say the observatory could draw visitors and boost science engagement in the region. Read more about this at WCPO. Our free newsletter is a quick local news digest, essentially this newscast in written form. Subscribe at wakeupcincy.transistor.fm. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at wakeupcincy. And please share this podcast with your friends who care about this city. I'm Matt Peiken. Thanks so much for starting your weekdays with Wake Up Cincinnati.